Welcome to CoshoctonTV.com. I'm Jesse Marson-Cabbage, and I have here beside me the Coshocton City Mayor, Steve Mercer, and he just gave recently his State of the City address, which opens up every year to let the citizens and also council know what his objectives are for 2012. Last year was the Bicentennial year for Coshocton County, and that was a tremendous year. Now, Mayor, in your State of the City address, you state that the Bicentennial celebration did much more than capture statewide attention. It created a great sense of pride and a cooperative spirit throughout our community. Everybody came together to make it one great Bicentennial year. What are some of your fond memories from last year's Bicentennial?
Well, we did a variety of things. The week-long Chautauqua was certainly the signature event that occurred. And we drew people not only from our city, but from really all over the state. A terrific event down at the fairgrounds. We had our Civil War encampment, and wasn't it nice that it coincided with the 150th anniversary of the Civil War? So to have the enactors here at that time, and that was the culmination of our beard growing competition, if you recall that.
I cannot forget your beard, sorry.
Had the mutton chops there, and that was just kind of fun, to get into the spirit of what we were doing during the Bicentennial and to conclude it there at the Civil War encampment.
Well, thank you so much for that recap on the Bicentennial celebration. Now, as we reflect on the budget for the city, we ended in the black with $234,846 in the general fund, correct?
Correct.
And then all funds, you are good in the good with more than $6.3 million. And you say here in your State of the City address that nearly 30% of that can be attributed to the Utilities Department turning around what 5 years ago was a dangerously low reserve balance in their fund. It seems like a lot of the departments are coming together and being really frugal.
Well, they are. And since I began 4 years ago, we've looked at how we do everything we do. I would like to attribute a lot of that to our utilities director that we appointed, Dave McVeigh. He was been really good at helping us to consolidate and look at avenues to be able to do that. When we say that our reserve balance in our water fund was low, it's because it's a major expense in the city to treat water and treat wastewater. And you need to be able to keep literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in reserve to be sure that any emergencies that may come up, among other things, and repairs and planning and just regular maintenance are always there. And he's done an excellent job, commend him for that, for being able to turn that around and help us build up a proper reserve in that account.
Let's talk about Main Street, because a lot of the commitment that needs to be taken to Main Street and how to revive Main Street and get into the empty storefronts too was also a part of your State of the City address. With Main Street, you'd like to see a 12% reduction in vacancies by the end of this year and 40% by the end of 2015. And one way I think you're trying to get across is having three groups come together, which all of them promote Main Street, and those three being Town Center Association, the Port Authorities, Our Town Coshocton, and the Project to Restore America.
Yes, we've had a great amount of people that are involved in trying to help the city in whatever way we can. These are people that have a direct interest in it, for one. Obviously, we have the Town Center Association that's been around for a while. The Port Authority has undertaken an initiative. It's now called Our Town Coshocton. And there's a group of people that have been from Coshocton that have helped already. They've helped our Convention Visitors Bureau called Project to Restore America. I would like to see them come together and, quote, sit at the same table and let's talk about where we're going with our downtown. According to my count, we have from the area of Water Street all the way up to 7th Street at the library on our Main Street. Of the spaces that I counted that I would consider storefront spaces, we have about 97 total. 80 of them are rented or are owned and being used by the business. And we have about 17. Now, in some areas, it looks like there's a lot more because they're concentrated, maybe between the 5th and 6th Street area. So a reduction of 12% means if we could just add a net 2 people or 2 businesses in this coming year, and 40% means a net 7 within the next 4 years. Businesses come and go. That's the life cycle of business. My goal is that the net increase this year and increase within the next 4 years.
And a possibility for that might be some tax incentives to business or building owners or landlords offering free or reduced rent for businesses.
Well, if we can, we want to explore, and I've asked our Grants and Economic Development Committee if they would look into what we can do to possibly create some landlord incentives. If they have buildings that are sitting there and storefronts that are empty, if they want, if they're looking to rent them, can we provide some sort of incentive? It may be a tax incentive, something of that nature that will allow them to give a new business coming in possibly a tax credit, give them rent-free or very reduced rent to help them get into being an entrepreneur and getting into something that maybe they couldn't afford initially, get them up and running. And we as a city can help by possibly giving the landlord a little tax incentive if we can. So I've asked him to look into that.
It sounds like you're asking a lot of people to stand behind Main Street and also to build that same commitment that you have to as well to reviving it. As you know, with the recent passing of Sue Border, she was one of those young entrepreneurs that stood behind Main Street.
30 years ago, Sue opened up the Hallmark store. And I don't know of hardly anybody that's been around Coshocton much that does not know Sue. It's not been in the Hallmark store. Sue was the kind of person that had certainly bubbly, effervescent type personality. She has a distinctive laugh that I think we'll all remember for a long time. So her passing is it's a loss for our community. But I think what she did and the commitment that she had a couple years ago, she completely redid the outside of her building, made it beautiful. And that's the kind of commitment that she had. So I think that what she is leaving with us will linger on.
And I agree. Let's take a look for 2012 with other initiatives that are proposed. One is consolidating the street and cemetery departments along with maintenance responsibilities to create a new Department of Public Works. Another one is to actively pursue the oil and gas industry to market the city's greatest asset, of course, our water. And then also last year you hoped that the city's major project on the agenda will again be to rebuild the Sheridan Road infrastructure. And we cannot forget that 800-pound gorilla, the ethanol plant.
Oh boy.
Which one do you want to start with?
We'll take the easy ones first here. Just the consolidating some departments, which could be street and cemetery, is just allowing us perhaps the flexibility of being able to use employees cross-department a little bit more and allow our supervisors, which we are very lean on supervisors, to be able to sort of to do the same thing and cover both areas and take care of all our facilities. One thing that it's interesting how sometimes these things come around. We have, for 10 years, have pretty much been taking a beating because of the upgrade that we did $10 million upgrade that we did to our water plant. We went from around a 9 million gallon a day plant to a 15 million gallon a day plant. We've had a lot of excess. Then we had companies close down and move out. So we've had a fair amount of excess. We run right now around 9 million gallons a day excess. And we, through the Port Authority and whatever opportunity, have been trying to market to companies that will use water. Now, we have the oil and gas industry that are just starting to move into our part of the state, into Coshocton County, the Utica shale drilling. And for the process that they use lots of water. And we have looked at these as an opportunity. So here we have a time that for the last 10 years, wow, what did we do this for and why is it there? And it appears like this can be a tremendous opportunity for the city to be able to sell water on a bulk basis to an industry that very much is in need of it. And so we're looking for what can we do to parlay that and help the city.
And let's conclude with the ethanol plant. What's in store for the ethanol plant? Any latest updates?
Well, the updates is there's not much update. We have, over the last couple of years, been very patient with the executives of the ethanol plant and hoping that they can raise the funding to reopen the plant. There are several things that's been tied into that with the State Department of Development, and one of it is that there were some requirements for hiring of the plant for people coming in, and grants were given to us to give to them for the completion of the plant, and they were tied into certain hiring requirements. There seems to be negotiations between whether did they meet it or did they not meet those requirements. Gone back and forth with the state and with the company, but ultimately we as a city signed off, and so the state is making us responsible for it. That's a pretty heavy gorilla. Plus we made a $5 million investment in the latest technology, the bioethane technology, to be able to take their waste. And we have that lingering too. It certainly would be our hope that the plant can reopen somehow. Whether at this point it's with the present management and ownership, or whether it will be because they sell the plant and somebody else opens it and honors the contract, those are things yet to be decided. But at the very least, we hope to be able to work with the state, with our obligations, and come to some sort of an agreement and compromise with the fact that it was the state all along that said, we want an ethanol plant in Ohio. They identified Coshocton was the best place because, for among other things, we had this wastewater plant that we could upgrade. So we entered into a partnership with the state, and here we are kind of holding all the rest of it. We would sort of like to see something worked out with the state that will relieve us of a potential very difficult problem on the city.
And hopefully that can happen in 2012. Thank you, Mayor Steve Mercer, for giving me an update on your State of the City address, and good luck to you in 2012.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching CoshoctonTV.com. I'm Jessie Marson-Cavage.